From there, I said hopefully 12 kids will turn up, and we can get them being our guinea pigs, as I mentioned before. And Fiona and Alan and Kiwi will be able to, you guys can assess the session as it actually happens. So we'll get the session running, hopefully an hour maximum, and then we'll do a little bit of an assessment or review when it finishes. Okay, so the outcomes today that I'm hoping to achieve is that I give you the tools, following on from the grassroots that we did a few weeks ago, the extra tools that you can work with. Is anybody working with kids in the 11, 12 space, or 9, 10, 11, 12 space? What ages? What age are you coaching? Under 11, so hopefully it will help you yourself.
Under 8.
Under 8, so you're just prepping them for the skills training. So you'll be at a stage now where actually they should be actually doing a little bit of the core skills. So this will hopefully help you.
Under 9s.
And well, you are in the right age. That's the beginning. Okay, the core skills. And
Under 9s.
Under 9s as well.
7.
Under 9s, brilliant.
7, yeah.
All right, brilliant, wonderful. Okay, that being the case, can anybody tell me one of the core skills?
Touching the ball.
So like first touch.
First touch.
First touch. Fiona's going to write them down. What might first touch look like? It's another word for it. And begins with con and ends with troll.
Control.
Control. There you go. Okay. Control. There you go. That was a little.
Is it tough on that?
Is that helper? Yeah. Any other core skill that we know?
Dribbling.
Sorry.
Dribbling.
So dribbling. So running with the ball. Yeah. So you've got in running with the ball, you've got dribbling. Yeah. And normally you could be also attacking what? Space. Yeah. In big open areas. Yeah.
Striking the ball.
Striking the ball. Brilliant. What another part or component of striking the ball could be what?
Shooting.
Shooting. Excellent. What else?
Just clearing the ball.
What about crossing? Yeah. Is heading striking the ball?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Volleying. Yeah.
Trapping or stopping or...
So that's like your first touch, like we, Max just mentioned there before. So your first touch as well. Anything else? There's one more.
Tackling.
So it could be. So it's 1v1.
1v1, yeah.
1v1. So you've got 1v1 attacking and 1v1
defending. Yeah.
Okay. So they 4 core skills. Okay. When you did the grassroots with me a few weeks ago, what core skill did we spend a lot of time?
First touch.
First touches.
And running with the ball, really.
Yeah. So the main focus was that, you reckon?
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Running with the
Yeah.
ball. Okay. Underneath, so we have the 4 core skills there, and we have what's core skill hidden learning. So, just as you've said there, okay, when we did the grassroots, we spent all the time basically running with the ball. Okay, but they did a lot of shooting. Was that right? Or we did a lot of shooting. So they were striking the ball, and then the little games at the end there was 1v1. And some passing that was happening, so obviously there was first touch there as well. So that was all hidden learning stuff, okay? And we still do that to this day, okay? When we move into the skills acquisition phase, all right, we focus on a core skill, and then the other core skills are something that I'll be looking at that maybe next week I might have to work on that. So for example, today we're going to work on striking the ball, so we're going to work on passing, okay? So we're doing the striking the ball. And we'll work on that, but we'll notice as we do that the other core skills, and you guys can talk about that as that goes on. Okay, what other core skills are happening? Okay. Has anybody got? I noticed, Larry, have you got your little guidebook with you? Did you print out the guidebook?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You don't have to give me it, but did anybody else print that out? You got it. Did you have a look at it before you came? Did you notice PDE in there? You know what it is, or?
Forgotten I did, but...
It's no drama. It's not a drama. So P is perception. Okay, so it's what a player will see. Okay, D being what? Based on what you see, you'll make what?
Decision.
A decision. And E, if you factor in the core skills, it'll be the execution. Yeah, the execution of the core skill. Okay, so this is something that we spend a lot of time on, okay? The decision-making process, rather than telling kids what to do, we want to get them being able to see something, make their own decision, so that they can execute the core skill based on what they see, okay? So we find, I think, most people will realise that we spend a lot of time telling kids what to do. They don't really get the opportunity to actually make their own decision. We tell them, do this, do that, do this, do that. What we're trying to say now is, can we take the telling away and allow them the opportunity to make the decision, which might mean they make some mistakes along the way, which is there's nothing wrong with. So from the mistakes they can evaluate, we can evaluate, and then we can go, right, okay, what made you make that decision? Asking that question will be quite interesting, that you hear what the kids might say. They might tell you something completely different from what you actually thought. Okay, so we're going to talk about the change it and the checklist. We've got the checklist right here. This is a little bit in depth, the checklist here, okay, but we'll talk about that, and I'll get you guys to do that whilst we actually get going, okay. But this is something that's really, really, really important, okay, really important. I said it's a little bit more in depth from what's in your little guidebook, but it's just as important, okay, just as important, because what it allows us to do is that rather than holus bolus just jumping in and trying to basically fix everything, okay, we've got a little checklist that we run down, which is effectively our start, the organisation. You'll see that we're organised here. The ability and the attitude of the players hopefully will be good, because Aaron's got them sorted, is that right? Hopefully they understand the practice, okay? They understand the practice, and then we've got a little shape there that we have that we'll work with when we get into the middle part of the training session, okay, the skill training part. And then that allows me to go in and actually coach, to actually influence the players, you know what I mean, and teach them a little bit, okay? So how do you know which core skill? How might you know which core skill to work on? What will tell you which core skill to work on?
Give them a ball, tell them to have a kick around.
Yeah, that's a great way, yeah. Any other way?
Actions game.
The game,
Yeah.
beautiful. So you'll look at the game, okay? And especially at the age that you're working at, focus more on the core skill rather than the holistic part of the game. So you might be zoning in on one of the core skills. So for example, I said tonight we're going to work on striking the ball. So when I speak to the kids, I'll speak to them like I watched their game at the weekend, and I will say at the weekend I noticed that striking the ball wasn't so good, or his passing wasn't so good. So tonight I've set up the practice so that we got lots of repetition in the hope that this weekend we're better at it. Okay, so there's a past, there's a present, which is now, and the future is the game that's coming up at the weekend. And that's how we should start the session, Monday to Friday, whatever day that you actually coach the kids. Last weekend we noticed this, and if you can, at this age, don't focus so much on the game, you know what I mean, the outcome, focus on the core skill. So that tonight we're going to spend a lot of time working on striking the ball. Okay, that's going to be our main focus. Okay, and so you'll see that through the night, and that will then allow the hidden learning part to come in. Okay, that I'll be looking at, and we're striking the ball. Then I think it's yourself that mentioned about the first touch. I might go, maybe the first touch isn't so good. Maybe that's what's letting them down, or maybe when they get a good first touch, they lose the ball as they start running with it, or if it's in a 1v1 situation. So they're little. You might then put that in your back pocket and say, next week I might work on this. Or you watch the game at the weekend and say, yep, they're striking the ball's good, there's another core skill we need to work on. Okay? So again, so you'll, as I said there, you've got the past, present, future. You get the core skill, which we'll talk about tonight. That's what I'll say to the kids. And I'm not going to go all the way through that, but you will see this as we go through tonight. Okay? You'll see as we go through. There's a little, we start off like unopposed when it's easy for them, or easier. We might throw in a little bit of interference. We might force them to make a little bit of decisions to get their heads up and stuff like that, and then resistance, where it definitely forces them to make game-based decisions. Okay, if they're good enough, Aaron said they're the best in the West, so we might introduce competition in the warm-up. You know what I mean? But from there, that's the influencing part. The teaching part is the skill training component, and that's where we go in and actually stop there. Tell me what you saw. Ask the question. What you saw. They'll tell you the answer, hopefully. And then from there we can then coach, maybe guide them a little bit, you know what I mean? So, and then we finish off with a little game. So, I said there's parts there that I think we talked about it when I did the grassroots, about evaluating what you do. Always evaluate what you do and work on, think about it, did it work? If it didn't work, what can I do better? If it did work, how can I challenge them a little bit more the next time? Okay, if you can do that sort of stuff, and if you can do that, evaluating each time, you'll find that you become clearer and more concise with your information, and I go as far as to say that the kids will probably enjoy it, because it means that they're actually thinking that this coach has actually thought about this, you know what I mean, rather than just turning up being like in the olden days, when you were younger. Remember they days when the coaches would turn up and send it. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Send them for 5 laps. And then come back and then create something. In your little guidebook, there's plenty of practices there in your little guidebook that I gave you as well. The little fundamentals guidebook. There's plenty of practices in there that you can put them in here, no problem whatsoever. Because I think the 10 to 12s is the 4 core skills. There's 4 skills there, so you can actually, after you see it in action, you might go, you know what, I might start using that. Okay. At the moment, what are you doing with your kids training wise? What sort of practices are you doing at the moment?
Oh, I would concentrate on the weaknesses, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's some kids have got one weakness, some kids have got different weaknesses.
Yeah.
So some just need a lot of confidence, bring a lot of confidence.
Yeah. So from that,
that's never played. So
so that makes it a little bit more challenging as well. So that you might end up with training in isolation there, that you have to take the kids to the side and show them how to basically run with the ball or pass the ball.
Yeah.
Get comfortable with the ball.
Yeah, I do a warm up using some of those skills that you were telling us, climb them up.
Yes.
Just sweeping.
Yep.
And then we use that other one that you gave us where we did the passing.
Yes.
Using the 2 goalposts. And then I say go over close passing in a restricted area. And I do a back to basics session. So I try and put 10-15 minutes of throwing, tracking the ball, running with the ball.
It's funny because we got somebody the other night that asked about throwing at Annerley. We were at Annerley, and I'll be honest with you, it's something actually I forgot about.
Yeah,
that's true. I actually forgot about it.
Got a couple of times on the weekend.
Yeah, it's such an important part.
To do it,
Well, in the Sydney and Melbourne game on the weekend, one of the top, I don't know who it was pulled up for lifting his foot.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, oh God. You don't want to know. So anything, what do you do with your kids?
Yeah, I start with a warm-up, like you showed us in the grassroots when we play the game where I shout out what to do and they do it. Jump ship, tap ball, and warm them up to start with. And then I'll go into more of like a mini game to get them playing around and having fun. And then we'll start with either if they need help with the shooting or the passing or something like that, then I'll go into something like that. And then at the end, I let them play a game.
Okay, all right. So, does it make sense what we've just said there? So you've got you've actually covering all of the core skills, much the same as yourselves, is that right? So hopefully tonight you'll notice that if we hone in on one core skill, okay, you'll find the other ones will actually happen. You'll get better success, okay, by focusing on a core skill. The hidden learning will be that these core skills will they'll actually be doing it without actually knowing they're doing it.
So one skill per session?
Yeah, that's correct.
Session?
Yeah, so one core skill per session.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say try not overlap, but it's easier said than done. But be careful giving them too much information, because if you give the past, present, future, like I noticed at the game at the weekend that we struggled with their passing. So effectively you're telling them that we're going to work on striking the ball. So the hidden learning there will be first touch, maybe running with the ball, and when we get into the game there'll be 1v1. Okay, so I'll be looking at that. What's their passing like? Okay, and does it affect their first touch? Does it affect them when they get into 1v1? Is the pass too soft that they're immediately in a battle? You know what I mean? Is the pass too heavy that they've got to turn and chase the ball? So they're little things like that we start looking at. Okay, and especially who's doing your coach Nate's, did you say?
Yeah.
You're at a great age, because that's prepping them for it.
Yeah.
It's prepping them for you so that by the time they get, because the skills acquisition is 9 to 13, you know what I mean? So by the time you've done that little bit of foundation, little bit of groundwork, when they move in next year, you know what I mean? You can start it now. Start doing focus on a core skill. And do you have to do one different core skill each time, do you reckon? Like, so for example, today will be striking the ball, tomorrow first touch, next day. Do you have to do them in sequence and like that? Not really. No. What might tell you what to work on? Like you mentioned. Yeah, the game. The game will tell you. You know what I mean? You'll look at it and go, actually, they're getting better at this. Okay, so I might want to keep doing it because I want them to get better again, or I might go, no, that's enough. You know what I mean? We might focus a little bit more on their first touch or running with the ball or the 1v1s. Okay? Fiona, anything you want to add on?
I'll probably just make sure that you're organised.
Yeah.
Yeah, plan ahead. So when you get to the park and you've got all your gear, balls pumped up, all those sorts of basic things. And when the kids get there, they make them feel welcome. I like what you do, like you have a little warm up, little game they might do.
Yeah.
They might do that. We just finalise setting up. And
Yeah.
we
A
can
warm
get
up
into it.
game.
Yeah, just to the side.
Yeah.
So they might just come. There might be 10 balls there.
Yeah.
And off you go,
Let them,
little touches.
let them kick the ball. You noticed how we did that in the grassroots. I remember we had the balls in the central area, and that's what we did. Just the balls in there, off you go, run around. That gets that off their chest. You know what I mean? Gets that little bit of energy, especially boys. You know what I mean? Gets it off, gets it out, gets all that excess energy out. So
I've
that
had them
when
just going over to the goal and just taking shots
Yeah,
at the goal
yeah,
just to
no.
get it out because that's all they want to do.
I
So,
agree.
all
with you.
right, go on, do it.
Yeah, go on, kick
then we'll
the
play
ball.
the game at the end.
Yeah, best thing they can do, gets that out. So, and it might even go a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Might take an extra 2 or 3 minutes to do that. That's fine. Let them do it because by the time they've done that, they're then ready for you going in and actually starting to influence them. You know what I mean? So. I said that I think that's basically the best way to go. You know what I mean? Is just get them doing their own little warm up, and then we can get them straight into past, present, future, and this is what we're working on tonight. And let's go. Okay.
Keep it short, sharp, and simple.
That's it. Sharp, exactly to the point. Exactly everything to the point. You know what I mean? And that's what organisation and planning is key. I'm sure we said that at the grassroots. If you haven't planned, you're in big trouble, and the kids will sniff at it. The older they get, one will challenge you. You know what I mean? They'll go, you haven't thought about this. You always get the one. I see he's all laughing, so I have a funny feeling you've got people like that that do challenge you because it's funny. I was talking to a TD from one of the clubs that will remain unnamed today, and he was saying that when parents pay their registration fees now, they actually expect a little bit of professionalism.
Yeah.
They expect a little bit of organisation. They expect more than what they used to get. So which I think is actually, I think that's fair, which is complimentary to yourselves for coming out here tonight because for whatever reason some clubs don't push coach education, whereas some do, and I think it should be almost standard that you've got to have some sort of coach education happening within your club because again parents do expect it now.
They don't accept it now that you're just a volunteer anymore.
You know, that was the one. It's funny you say that because that's the word that they were talking about today, and we talked about that at the beginning. You know what I mean? That people go, well, it's just a volunteer doesn't cut the mustard anymore. You know what I mean? We go, well, we pay exorbitant fees and we expect something in return. You go, well, it's actually probably fair enough. You know what I mean? When you think about it. So, any questions before we go?
What about goalkeeping skills?
Goalkeeping
That's the problem I've got.
Yeah, it's another good one. So it was Aaron that was talking today. So you've obviously got a goalkeeping coach here in Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are trying to arrange it. I
Oh,
brought
right.
that up with him a few weeks ago, and I know he is trying to arrange it.
So he is a goalkeeping coach. So it's a great point because again, it's another neglected part of the game. Because sometimes you get the kids, as I always say, if you get a kid that turns up with the gloves, grab them, don't let them go, don't let them out, don't let them out your sight, mate, because and even if they're 6 or 7 or 8,
Well, I've got 7s to 9-year-olds playing in the 9s.
there you go.
None of them, yeah.
So that is something that you got to take up with Aaron
Yeah.
and make sure that the kids are catered for.
Play half and then we'll swap the ball over.
You're playing us on Saturday, you'll find out all about that. I'll tell you that.
You can absolutely incorporate all those things in with goalkeeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might just do a session 1 week just on goalkeeping.
Goalkeeping only, that's right.
1v1 goalkeepers.
Yeah.
All those things.
Yeah. Because you never know, you might actually get one of them and go, oh, actually, I don't mind this, I might want to be a goalkeeper.
Aaron, you got a minute? We're just talking about goalkeeping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
We were just the gentleman here was asking about what do we do about goalkeeping coaching, and I said, well, you're the guru.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Fiona's just come up with a good point that rather than doing a session like this, we could do a goalkeeping session, incorporating the core skills. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
Definitely.
And also you'd add another one there with just ball handling, those
Yeah.
sorts of things.
I asked Jamie Young at the last Raw game, would he be willing to come down?
Yeah,
And he
please,
said,
yeah.
let him
Thank you,
know.
mate.
I don't think we're
what's your
gonna-
number?
Yeah. But it'd be good, basically. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You can actually do an FFA goalkeeping, like a basic course.
Never seen it. Never,
Yeah,
ever
it's a
seen
level. It's a level 1 course.
that you do, and it's basically just.
Oh, this is
what
for
Mark
the
said.
coaches to do.
Yeah.
But what about getting an FFA qualified goalkeeping coach to come out and do it with our guys?
You know that Dean May's back in
Dean
town.
May, yeah.
Dean May's back, so he's just come back from overseas.
That's what I did mine with.
And I just spoke to Gemma
Yeah.
the other day about it because we need to get Dean back on the ground and get him out there again because it's so under-resourced and basically it's a neglected part of the game.
Brisbane
I think
City
people-
will do one for you, but they'll charge you $300
Yeah.
for your kid to do it. You know?
It's. I think people have sort of lost ways with goalkeepers a little bit. Like there were so many different avenues to go to start off with, but now everyone's sort of like confused. You need your C license first, and then you go for your first goalkeeper license. I think now it's more structured, but I think people sort of lost their way and had given up on that with goalkeeping. So.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there. I've seen it, so it's
Yeah.
definitely there.
We'd love to get that
Yeah.
implemented.
Yeah, we need to get it back up and running. I said
I'm level 1, so I can come and run
Great,
just
yeah,
an
look,
introduction
yeah.
course to
We'll
goalkeeping.
jump
don't
in
even
and we'll
fit
tie
it
you
down.
down to it.
Yeah.
Twice on the bounce.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's definitely something I said. It's a good point that you bring up, and as the same you said as well, Fiona. It's definitely something that's neglected, and it's something that we can incorporate basically any given time.
Yeah.
And you never know where your goalkeeper might come from. You never know. I don't know if I mentioned in our grassroots, but I coached my 3 children, and the 2 boys came through from under 6s to under 13s with no goalkeeper. No goalkeeper. That they had rotation, and that was agreed that we don't have a goalkeeper. We're not even going to go looking for a goalkeeper.
That's what I'm doing with my under 9s now. They rotate.
Do the
So
rotation.
They've got a
Which is
goalkeeper who
sad.
loves it, but he loves on the field as well.
Yeah.
So, but everybody's got to have a go in
Yeah.
there. So,
It's great, and if you can get them all to buy into that,
Yeah.
then I said you never know. You might find one of them go, yeah.
Oh, they bought into it. They just
That's why.
Mars
That's
Park
why
helps
with the that stuff that we do, the football fundamental stuff. That's why when the formation stuff comes out, it's a 1-4-3-3 rather than 4-3-3. The
Yeah.
goalkeeper is always included in all these sessions
Yeah,
that you run.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just someone who's shoving a goal, pelt balls at. Like you always run sessions with your goalkeepers as well. Like they're just as important as any outfield player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not get too carried away.
Well, you can
Let's
ask
not
Martin,
get too
he'll tell
carried
you, but
away.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's not get too carried. What do you reckon? Yeah. Yeah. They're good, but they're not that good.
Goalkeeper saves goals, mate. You can score them or we'll save them. Yeah.
That's right. The goalkeepers win your leagues.
Exactly.
Is that right? They win your
Exactly.
leagues.
They
Just as Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So, any questions before we get going? No. What time is it? We must be right on 6:30.
Yep.
Yes.
6:32.
Again.
All right. Okay. We will bring the kids over. So we've got 10. So what I'm going to